Hi, hello, good morning. This is once again Mrs. Prasanna Raj coming right in front of you. Today, I would like to begin my class or else my video with a small testimony of myself. Okay, this is a testimony always helps us further, further in improvisation of our skill in talking, right? So, my journey has started in class 6. So till class 5, I wasn't at all in a firm thought of talking in English, right? That time it was just a colorful mechanism that we were calling in childhood, just a playway method. And much insistence was also not there on us that we have to speak literally in English, though I have studied in an English medium school. Right. Okay, when I get back to my nostalgic reference that when I was studying in class 6, the then situations were quite different from now, right? So we hadn't had any television set in our home. So as drawn towards the communication approaches or to look into the entertainment channels, I used to sneak into my neighbor's house to watch all those programs. The then programs were all in Telugu, right? They wouldn't switch the television to national channel or something else or something else. So whatever channel is broadcast over there in their homes, I used to sneak in and I used to see them. I used to watch them. I used to watch them. So it had become very difficult for my parents to pull me through, right? Now, then the necessity has come in our house that we have our own television. So one day I was playing on the road because now we are catching hold of our children, then the situations were different. I was let free, so my studies and everything would start at 6 or 6:30 and all. So never I used to catch hold of my books and sit in front of the books by 5 or 5:30 as of now the children are doing. Okay, then one day I was playing on the road and I happened to look at the road edge. So I saw my father coming down the lane in a rickshaw, right? So then we seldom had some autos. Okay, so I saw him carrying something very heavy, and I told you I'm a big observer, right? So then I dashed into my home, yelling out. What did I yell out? My father said, on me, I said. So I tell you that I'm a queen in the house, right? So soon after, literally, I was on my toes. I don't know what kind of instigation, what kind of energy levels were there at that time. I cannot explain to me, right? So I was on my toes until the TV was installed and until the antenna connection was given for my television, right? So then you believe me, friends, it was the liberty of mind that I have set in. The liberty of mind, you believe, what is it? Then I realized this is my home and this is my television, and whatever I want, I can watch. The programs are at my liberty. Okay. Okay, my father and mother, they used to watch here and there some local channels and everything because they are also from the educational background. They were well educated, there than BSc BA, there than BA BEd. Okay, they have studied in a very prestigious institutions then. So even then, what did we do? I never watched any Telugu channel then. So it was a great fascination. Why? Because I had a setback when I went to my neighbor's house. We used to have one elder sister in the neighborhood. So when they were watching one Hindi channel, so I believe me, I didn't even know the meaning of the word shakkar. शक्कर के मतलब भी नहीं मालूम था मुझे. सो मैं उससे पूछ रही थी शक्कर का मतलब क्या था, क्या है. तो वो मुझे आंसर नहीं दी, लेकिन मेरा क्वेश्चन को ठुकरा दिया. So I was not given any answer, and she asked me to keep my mouth shut. So it was a real setback, right? So I came. Really, that kind of vengeance that kind of strength that we should have. Not that you people are not having, but I have little more. So I came home and I didn't let it out also that I was literally given a taunt there in my neighbor's house. So then my liberty has started. So I told my parents that whatever program I like, I watch, but they didn't give me that liberty. But they told me that whatever you watch, it should be shut down by 10 o'clock or 9:30, right? And we used to have a Doordarshan programs, and the news used to come in Hindi and English. So my fans, I'm a great hardcore fan of Rini Khanna. So ask your parents who are those Rini Khanna, Sunit Tandon, and Usha Albert. All these are the other news readers who really stole my heart. So till now, even now, I'm chanting those names, Miss. You can understand what kind of impact I had of all those people on me. And one more person, Tejashwas. They had their own style of speaking, right? And you believe me, whenever I heard Rini Khanna over the news, I used to say the same news in my closets or in my room or somewhere else, wherever I find myself to be myself and be myself. Okay, this kind of impact I used to have on them. So this is how I have learned 3 languages perfect. One is Telugu, that is the news channel read by Mr. Shanti Swarup. I still remember him, right? The great intonation that he had in his voice, and Vijay Durga, one more news reader. And these two people they ruled over this Doordarshan of Telugu. And in Hindi, I used to watch this Salma's news, who used to come with a rose on the right side of her head. So still I can remember the style of speaking. And English, of course, Rini Khanna, Vishal Bhattara, Tejashwar Singh, and Sunit Tandon. These four are really my gurus, I should say. So whenever I speak about them, literally I used to have the impact on me and my spoken English. And this is how I've started, and this is my real testimony. Okay, Hindi. That Hindi is my third language, but even then, I never used to shun to talk to myself. So what kind of why I told my testimony is it is not that difficult to learn a language. It's not that difficult. Only the thing is you should have habit of learning, habit of reading, and also interest inculcated in you. So why these kind of generations, they don't have that interest? Because they don't put their heart and soul in that in learning. Okay, so when you have the heart and soul of learning, when you people have that, definitely you will have the kind of language, skill, learning, development from your lives. So when you collect some more new words, put them into practice. So this is my prologue. Okay, yesterday I have promised you that I'll be coming with a new video, right? So now I told you the classics, the plays are the scripts written by the great writers. So when we date back to the people, so I told you that I'll be talking to you about Shakespeare, right? And the greatest writer and the dramatist who has introduced me in the dramatist, right? And this is what answering. Now let me talk about date back to the Hamlet. Date back to Hamlet. So when I want to talk to you about Hamlet, the greatest drama, it is a very, very, very just a tragic incident which has happened in the life of Prince Hamlet. Prince Hamlet. And I will say that this turns around certain incidents that happen in the life of Hamlet. Right? And here, into 3 segments, I will divide this characterization into 3 families. One is King Hamlet's family. The other one is Polonius' family. The other category is friends. Now in King Hamlet's family, we have King Hamlet and Gertrude, wife of King Hamlet, Claudius, brother of King Hamlet, and of course, Prince Hamlet, son of King Hamlet. And this is the family of King Hamlet, right? And now coming to the minister. As we have the counselors and the ministers, and here King Hamlet also had a minister, and his name is Polonius. And he has a daughter named as Ophelia, and later she becomes a fiancée or else a lover of Prince Hamlet. She is the daughter of Polonius. And Laertes, he is the son of Polonius. Okay, and we have friends. Three friends he has. One is Horatio, and the second person is Rosencrantz, and the third one is Guildenstern. So the story all runs through all these people among the three categories. Okay, when the scene opens, and we have many important scenes in this, and the important scenes, in fact, first the opening scene is the grave digger's scene. That is very important. The grave diggers scene is very important, where the grave diggers, they talk about girls, the girls, or else a young, two skulls they'll be holding in their hand, and they'll be talking about the two skulls. What are those two skulls? One will be the bigger skull, and the second one is the little smaller skull. So when they talk about that, they'll be talking, whose skull is this? They'll be talking. Means, whose skull is this? They'll be talking. What is that? What is the skull there? It's a skull of a person who has passed away, right? And they find a smaller skull, and this fellow will be evoking laughter by telling that this skull might be the same girl's skull when she was young. So that doesn't mean just to evoke some laughter, to bring out some kind of comic element. Now Shakespeare has included this, right? And now after the gravedigger scene, immediately we find Prince Hamlet entering into his kingdom. Okay, his kingdom. He comes into this place and he finds something to call a mourning session. Actually, it is. All the people will be greatly mourning about the death of King Hamlet. Now, this person, I don't know, he has come meeting the news that his father has passed away, right? And after that, what happens? Okay, he comes there to find out the news of the person. Yes, now coming back to the setting of Hamlet, where Shakespeare has set in his own place in Elsinore. It's a royal castle, right? So where the action or the set of various actions are other parts of the castle are shown or depicted in Elsinore Castle. So there is also one scene that takes place away from the castle. It happens there. So now Shakespeare, he uses the legend of the Danish prince. So that is also a borrowed issue. As of now, you can see nowadays the directors of many of the films, they take the core idea from which has happened really. It's a realistic stories are depicted in the form of dramas and all those things. So like that, he also has taken the story of Prince called as he is a Danish prince. Okay, now we repeatedly lived in the 11th century and he uses the legends as a setting. Right? So as of now, we need a setting for the story to take place. The setting is very important to show where the story is taking place and how it has taken place. And depending upon the setting, the person's plot and the characterizations are also depicted in the. So now this technique was also used in that setting by William Shakespeare. Now the castle, talking about the castle over there, it is an enclosed space and a place where plots, intrigues, fester, murder, and insult, and deceit abounded. Literally took place. So these many things are to be taken care of. So now we watch a film for 3 hours. And now, how many hours we talk about a film? For many days, is it not? So that means when we watch a movie, we will be watching many things. Okay? The characterization, photography, the camera, and the setting, and the plot and whatever it is said, so many things will be taken into consideration, right? So in the castle, whatever is happening, so these many things are to happen in a place. The best example that I want to give you is today's Bahubali, very recently released movie. And why I'm telling this very recently, it's not released a century ago, right? So that still the impact is there in our minds. So the Bahubali, the person's life history, part one and part two, and how this director Rajamouli has taken us back with a flashback in the second one and the first one, how nicely he has depicted 3 + 3 hours, a 6 hour movie literally has put us in a fix. For the first half, we were in a fix that how this Bahubali was killed and who has killed him. And it has become an issue on the platform of discussion, right? So now this man, this dramatist, William Shakespeare, he has introduced so many characters, and this is the way how he has brought out the story from the beginning till the end, right? So these many things are taken care of. Okay, the best example I have given. So you also just set in your minds to understand the plots properly through my discussion, right? Okay, now what I was discussing to you, and also I want to tell you so many things that how these directors or the dramatists use so many things. So we have some stage property also when we started drama or when we depicted drama. And here in a castle, now so many things are also included. What are those? Alcoves, curtains, pillars, and what we call the spies lurks, we say, where people hide in and do certain things very suddenly. And also the correct levels are also to be taken care of. Okay, and now once again, and so many things. And this is how they are depicted, all these things. So now I needn't again take you back to the movie, the recent movie. You can think how many things are to be taken care of. And here, as a dramatist, he is not going to show us a play right in front of our eyes, but he has to take our imagination levels to a certain extent that we think about that in a very large extent. Right? And now these are the things I want to talk to you. The other important element that we find in is, and now Hamlet comes into the light into this environment. Why does he come? Avenging his father's murder. His father was murdered. And he comes to know that later by his own, right? And it's not by any means a simple matter. It's not a simple matter to keep aside, to be kept aside. It should be part. That's why he thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks. And immediately also he doesn't come to a conclusion. He doesn't come to a conclusion until he has his own way of thinking. And he invites a band of people who performs drama in the court. And he depicts the same drama in front of the parents using other characters. Parents here, I insist once again, the new father of Hamlet, Claudius, and his mother, Gertrude. So when they watch this movie played in the court of Hamlet, they're looking at the facial expressions of his uncle Claudius and his own mother Gertrude. Then he comes to a conclusion. Immediately he doesn't believe in the ghost of his father. Then becomes the spirit of his father. So here also we should think that whenever you think something, whenever something is told to you, you shouldn't come to conclusion so soon until you are aware of the truth. So looking at the facial expressions of his uncle and his mother, he comes to a moment that his mother is murdered. Then he breaks down. Then he understands. Then the pain started in his Hamlet's mind. And then he takes a decision that he literally wanted to kill his uncle. that was instinct in his brain. So now what happens? He achieves his revenge and figures out the corruption at the cost of his own life. He risks his own life. He doesn't think about his own life. So he is not selfish in nature. Right? So now what does he undergoes so many problems. He undergoes so many things. And also one more thing we have to notify that Claudius comes to know that Hamlet, Prince Hamlet, he has come to know about how this person has murdered. So Claudius also comes to know. So you can understand. So there is a battle between Claudius and Prince Hamlet. And this fellow, Claudius, wants to move himself to a safer position. And Prince Hamlet tries to keep on plotting how to kill this big Claudius. So this is the battle between two big brains, I should say. So I was talking to you about this family of Hamlet. So now, what are these things what I want to talk to you about? Yeah, Hamlet deals with so many questions also. Hamlet deals with so many questions. What are the questions about life and about the existence of a person or a life existence, and sanity and love, death and betrayal. And it is one of the most quoted words of literature in the world. And since 1960, it has been translated into 75 languages. And now let me take back. Now, it's a play, I told you. The play begins with a great digger's scene. And now as the play begins, Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, is visited by a mysterious ghost, resembling his recently deceased father. So I'd like to talk to you about, I told you, he has not come to a conclusion that he is his own father. He has not come, because I told you, one person should not come to conclusion so soon. He thought it is something, a supernatural element that is moving around. It must have come to mislead him, though he doesn't understand, those who cannot understand, or like whatever it is. Right? And now, what is happening over here? Now, the ghost tells Hamlet that his father was murdered by Claudius, the king's brother, who then took the throne and married Hamlet's mother, Gertrude. The ghost encourages Hamlet to avenge his father's death by killing Claudius. Now, will he take it in another way round? Will he take the action so immediately? No. Now, what did he do now? What is happening now? What is happening? So, the task before Hamlet is that. And now, what is the task before Hamlet? Hamlet weighs heavily upon. The task is very, very heavy on Hamlet. Now, he has his own paper. What is it? Is the ghost evil, trying to tempt him to do something wrong? And is it really the soul of King Hamlet that has sent him to see what is happening there and to bring an end to Claudius? So these are the different questions in Hamlet's mind. So now the Hamlet's questions, whether the spectacle is to be believed or Hamlet's uncertainty, anguish and grief are what makes a character so believable, so understandable. So all these speculations the play runs through. Now he is arguably one of the literature's most psychologically complex characters, Hamlet. And he is slow to take action, very slow to take action. So this one, from where do we understand? From the soliloquy used by Hamlet, who spoke to himself to be or not to be. It is the reference of one of the soliloquies, wonderful, worldwide, very famous soliloquy, to be or not to be. When you ponder upon a think for a long time, will be called as a Hamlet too by your friends. Don't be a Hamlet. Okay? Just take an action he says. Don't bother. So this is what he is very slow to take action. So if he had taken action too fast at the beginning itself, the play would have ended up like this. And so many plots would have taken. Right? And now, but when he does it, it is a rash. And so at the end, literally, when he runs his word to the heart of his people, then you should see how harsh he is, how violent he is, and how he has done. Not only that, he shows his vengeance not only by rushing through the sword of his uncle's hand, not only that, he pours the cup of poison into the uncle's mouth. So he doesn't want to spare his life anymore. So such time, he sees his mother dying over there because she also drinks a cup of poison, which is put aside to kill Prince Hamlet. But he just runs through the sword in the heart of Claudius, and he doesn't leave him like that. He even pours the cup of poison. That shows that really he's very rash and he's very very violent. We can see in this famous curtain scene when Hamlet kills Polonius too. Polonius, he was sneaking through in Gertrude's room to listen to overhear Gertrude and Hamlet speak. So when they speak, this Polonius, he was standing behind the curtain to listen to what is happening. So what happens immediately, thinking that he is his uncle Claudius, he just pushes his sword into his heart. When this man falls away from the curtain, it happens to be Polonius. He dies. So this is how he shows that he is a very rash person and he is also very violent in nature too. But that is seen only in few scenes. All the way through, he is depicted as a calm going person and a person of always pondering through. Right. And now coming to love of Hamlet. Let me explain to you love of Hamlet. Now Polonius' daughter Ophelia, and she is in love with Hamlet. But their relationship is broken. Why? Because Polonius himself, he educates his daughter that their stature or their cadre doesn't allow any other person to come in relation with the family of the princess. Right. Now Ophelia's and Hamlet's relationship, it breaks them. And Hamlet, he has learned from the father's death because Ophelia is instructed, I told you the beginning itself. And Meleatis also to spurn Hamlet's advances. Okay, he also was given, Meleatis was also asked to find out what things are going on in the mind of Hamlet. And ultimately, Ophelia, she commits, poor girl, she commits suicide. And as a result of Hamlet's confusing behavior towards her. So after these two incidents happen, poor Ophelia, she kills herself. She commits suicide by jumping the public street. And coming to the play within the play, what is there to understand about that? So in Act 3 and Scene 2 of this Hamlet organizes some actors to reenact, I told you at the beginning itself. So he didn't take any quick decisions in punishing his mother, uncle Claudius, until he analyzes that's really something has happened. Right? So this characterization, or he brought forward this analysis through enacting a play within a play. So this will come across in Act 3. Okay? And now reenact his father's murder at the hands of Claudius in order to watch Claudius' election. Okay? That has to be captured from the eyes of the person. Right? And now he comforts his mother about his father's murder, and here's someone behind one hands, willingly to Claudius. It stabs the man with his sword, and it transpires that he has actually killed this. And now coming to the two other characters I told you, the friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Very interesting characters. Very, very interesting characters. And Claudius, he realizes what has realized that he has come to know about the real villain behind the story is Uncle Claudius. Now he does something. What is it? Now his Hamlet, where he behaves in such a way that he brings out his confusing character out, and he behaves that he's mad. So now Claudius, he arranges Hamlet to be shipped off to England with his friends, who are the students was in and he sends a letter to them. He sends a letter informing soon after they reach over there, Hamlet has to be killed. Okay. Now, when this Rosencrantz and Guildenstern were the rose of this thing, Hamlet, in fact, he picks out that letter and he immediately changes the letter. He inscribes something else. So soon after these people reach England, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are to be killed. So this is how this Hamlet escapes death here in England. So Claudius, what is it? It's a secret order something. But Hamlet escapes from the ship and he swaps his dead body for the deaths of Rosencrantz. This has so then a very important one what I want to explain to you here is to be important, to be very interesting. Most of you must have heard this, though you are well versed, though you know it, though you understand, though you don't understand also. This is a very famous thing. So Hamlet arrives back in Germany just as Ophelia's being but which prompts him to contemplate life, death, and Roman traditions. And the performance of the soliloquy is a big part of how we have the whole Hamlet judgment. So he doesn't act in the beginning, in the middle, the end. That's why there is a tragic end because of the characters. And now the tragic end of Leontis. Now what is the tragic end of Leontis? So before he left to Italy, Polonius stops Leontis and he goes on, he'll be giving so many good things that he should not be a lender or should not be a borrower, or you should not be blindly listening to someone else. All these things. So all these preachings or teachings that he has done to Leontis literally are not put in practice. That's why Polonius has come to Leontis. Now let us see. Leontis returns from France to Claudius plots with him to make Hamlet's death. And he comes there after he returns from his place from France. This person, this Leontis, he learns about his father's death. And he wanted to avenge Claudius. He is a very crooked master, I should say. So he says, no, now I'm going to arrange something for you so that you can avenge me. Let us call for a sword fight. Let us call for a sword. What is that now? He encourages him to anoint the sword. Also puts a cup of poison in case of sword is successful. In this action, the swords are swapped or exchanged. Leontis also is mortally wounded with a poison sword after stopping it. Both of them would get hurt. First, Leontis he drives the sword in some of the cases of breathes. And next, when the swords are swapped, are exchanged between these two people, Leontis also wounded with the same poison sword. And he forgives Hamlet before he dies, because when he learns that this thing has happened, and he understood what is all happening, and at the end he forgives him. And in the action, the swords are swapped, and literally Leontis is mortally wounded with the poison sword. He forgives Hamlet to Ophelius, and Gertrude dies by accidentally drinking a cup of poison. Now Hamlet stabs Claudius and the rest of the poison, I told you, the restlessness, and how he is, the state of mind of the he is not a kind of, he understands the situation, and he went through the situation of who we are going to go but he against his father's death by running to the sword into the heart of Claudius, and he even poured the cup of poison in his mouth. And next time, Hamlet's revenge is finally complete. And now he, in his dying moments, he visits the throne Fortinbras and Prince Horatius suicide by imploring him to stay to the day. Someone should be able to narrate the story to others. Otherwise, the fake news will spread into the city or all around the throne of the king. The news always spreads like a right from the signal. So he wanted Horatio to be alive. Horatio also wanted to commit suicide. But King forbade him, and implored that he should stay alive so that all this will happen. Okay. Nothing happens. Characters and all these things are very well connected, right? And next, this is the main theme which ran down the King story. I have given you a nutshell. It's not a detailed explanation. So some of this soliloquies, some of the well-said sayings, and some of the beautiful lines are very famous in detail. If anyone wants, you can come to me, and they will be able to help. Right? And if you want me to switch over to the Bible to teach you Telugu also, just comment in the comment box. And I shall leave for today by having given you an important information about the importance of the characters and the plot behind the story. So I remain catch you up soon with another thing.